Welcome to the Module Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Billy.
And this is the podcast where we talk about technology.
Tech 9.
No, don't. That's a gun in Counter-Strike.
Yes.
You were talking about...
I was talking about the rapper. But we're not going to talk about him today.
No. It's a chance for us to talk about everything techie. Cell phones, computers, video game consoles, everything.
Things
not just
pertaining to computer science.
Specific. Oh, that was last week.
Yeah.
So this week, we're going to talk about the new Microsoft system because they're putting Microsoft 10S in a couple of new laptops. And then we're going to talk about VR. And we're going to talk about operating systems.
Operating systems.
Yeah. It's going to be... This is going to be
We've been through quite a few in the years.
This is gonna, oh my gosh. This is going to be quite the podcast episode. So let's just get it started because I don't know where to start with this one because this is going to be kind of a hatred podcast episode because we're going to just tear down.
It's a love-hate podcast.
Okay, yeah, mostly hate though. I'm going to say mostly hate.
I'll go with that.
So
you were talking about the new laptops.
Yeah, I need to pull out the specs for that.
Pull out the new specs.
I wrote them all down.
He wrote them down.
So Microsoft has a whole bunch of laptops coming out.
You know more about this than I do.
They're like retailing at like $140.
That's $10 less than the 2DS.
But I need to see. I think they're Surfaces. I think they are. I saw it on. I saw it online, and I thought it would be. I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about. So Microsoft has come out. Microsoft has come out with so many different Windows operating systems over the years. Starting with what was the first one? Was it
NT?
NT or whatever it was?
I think NT was the first. Or ME.
ME
was the first one.
I believe it was.
I think so.
Which it has really gone downhill from there.
Downhill.
I mean,
no, it's kind of gone like roller coastered.
What was the first?
There's been good. There's been bad.
Was your first? My first operating system, actual operating system, was 95.
That was my first Windows operating system. My first actual operating system was like some Mac OS. I think when it was just called Mac OS.
You talked about this on the last podcast because you had that huge, big, gray, ugly Macintosh.
Yeah, we started off as an Apple family.
I think I only remember 95. Maybe it's just because I remember 95 so well. But I remember 95 so well because I had those Windows 95 game discs that had like 5 or 6 games on them.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them had Earthworm Jim on it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and I played it on my crappy, early day computer monitor, the CRT that was like this, like if weighed as much of a car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 98 was like, I think I remember 98 because it was
98
it was more customizable on your desktop.
It was a game changer.
Remember that? You were like, whoa,
you could do things with it.
You could.
Where 95 was like, you can't do things with this. I do remember that.
Yeah, it was
95 was kind of a blur. I think the only reason I worked with 95 was because the school that I went to had 95 in their computer labs.
We had, dude, when Windows Millennium came out, Millennium Edition. Remember with the whole oh my gosh, what was that?
The Y2K
scare? The Y2K thing.
Yeah.
I remember the computers at my school. I went to Sprague Junior High. Oh my gosh, I just dated myself. Sprague Junior High and Sprague High School. When I was going to school, I remember the schools didn't put Windows 98 in the computers because they didn't put ME Millennium Edition into the computers because they were afraid of the Y2K bugs. So they stayed at Windows 98.
Oh right, ME was after 98. So NT was the first Windows.
NT was the first Windows, I believe. I can look it up, but yeah.
My school wasn't that advanced. I do remember during Y2K though, I was really afraid of like the ball drop that they did in New York because all the computers were going to take over in the year 2000.
Oh yeah.
So I was really afraid, like had legitimate fears that night of the ball like launching in the air instead of dropping, and it landed right in my room. Like I really had a fear of that. I don't think I slept alone that night. I think I like slept like in the living room or something like that. It was I feared Y2K and I had no idea why.
Well, we did. Well,
It was scare tactics, man. They made it
dude,
so
Skynet
real.
is a thing.
They made it
Skynet,
so
dude.
real.
Skynet. Well, yeah, because it's kind of like it's one. Well, okay, technology back then was advancing at such a like. I think technology advancing that quick back then was like way scary. It was like, oh, we're gonna do something to computers, the Matrix.
Now that you
guess,
think of like the premise of Y2K, that was dumb.
it was really dumb.
They were
was
afraid
super
that
dumb.
they were afraid that with everything rolling over to double zeros, it was gonna make the computers think that it was the 1900s.
Yeah. Like my
What?
monitor was gonna sprout arms and legs and come
Yeah,
and kill me
like-
in my sleep, like or what- I think the Y2K thing was like there was just gonna be a universal blackout, wasn't it, or whatever it was?
Yeah, like things
Or like a
things
mass-
wouldn't be able to operate off the double zeros because
Yeah.
they'd be going back in time essentially.
Yeah.
Which computers can count over 1,999 last time I checked.
Yeah.
So like thinking about it was like everyone was like, "Oh, the programs are gonna crash," and it's like, but are they?
And they didn't.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure I had a computer where if you set it up wrong, you could change the calendar to date would be 2035 and
Yeah.
everything would be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that with computers now, but I think we freaked out a little bit.
A little bit. Freaked out a lot. There were people that were like throwing their computers away. and stuff.
Y2Kers, man, they were nuts.
They were serious.
They were
There was
nuts,
like
though.
I think that's when
Technology was kind of
think
cheap then, though.
that's
at
when
that point.
living off the grid really became like a thing. Was like the Y2K bug, because there was this like, well, they can't get us if we don't, upgrade or whatever. We'll just never connect. Like
little side thing on that. It won't last long, but I remember watching this one thing about doomsday preppers.
okay,
And
yeah.
this guy bought like I think it was like $40,000, $50,000 worth of stuff and put it in their doomsday bunker on credit. And he was like, the world's gonna end, so I don't have to pay this credit back anyways. Like this was when the world was supposed to end, like December 21st in like 2012 or something like that. And he's like, I don't have to pay any of this back because no one's gonna be around to collect the credit. I'm like, oh, you're screwed.
Yeah.
On December 22nd, like you just feel so bad for
Yeah.
that guy.
It's like those people that go like, oh, Jesus is coming back today. I'm just gonna just max out all my credit cards or whatever, go all cuckoo banana sandwich, and then I'm still here.
yeah, still here.
It's like what? Well,
Rip your credit.
I'll just be here.
Okay,
then.
anyways, that was just like a little
No,
side thing, but
and that's right. The Y2K bug was crazy.
the Y2K bug.
But
was
I
nuts.
remember specifically 95 and 98. And I remember because, dude, I was playing freaking Wolfenstein 3D on floppy still.
I was always playing Oregon Trail. I think that's really the only game I had. And then like Number Munchers. What was that? What was
Number
that game
Munchers,
called?
Math Blasters.
Math Blasters. There we
yeah,
go.
dude.
There we go.
That sounds like such a nerd right now.
yeah,
Math Blasters.
That
woo!
and Mario Paint. Those were my jams.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, there was a Mario Paint for Microsoft. It came in a floppy disk.
So, oh, wow. I also had that one that was
Maybe
like
it wasn't Mario
it was
Paint,
like
but
you
it was-
could
oh, yeah,
Mario Paint was Mario Paint was
a regular or Super Nintendo also, but I'm pretty sure it came out.
That was
on
where you
the
can make
PC.
music, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it came out on the PC too because my friend had it.
Did it? It probably did. I didn't know about that
I
actually.
think. I mean, I could. It was a long time ago. I have a hard time remembering what I had for breakfast.
Fair. I remember, I played Oregon Trail a ton. I played Wolfenstein 3D on floppy, and I remember this specifically because, well, no, I was playing Diablo also.
Yeah, I was playing that,
but,
and I had just gotten the Hellfire expansion.
I remember because my friends and I would get in trouble for playing Wolfenstein 3D. Was it even 3D? It was Wolfenstein. I don't know.
It was 3D.
It was 3D.
It was like
And
Star Fox.
It was
3D.
because like, okay, we didn't have like, back then we didn't have an exact frame of reference for like what real is. Like Mortal Kombat was more gory and more bloody and more violent than Wolfenstein was.
Yeah.
So, but Wolfenstein was like at the time one of the most like violent things I was playing. So like I'd go to my friend's house and my parents would hang out and we would hang out. We would play Wolfenstein in his room on his computer. But the way that we hid that we were playing is we would like put a blanket over the monitor and like we would hide under the blanket and play. And when they would come in, we would just like switch it, like because we had it all set up. We would just switch it to like I don't know Banjo-Kazooie or something for the 64.
Jeez.
Good times. So yeah, I think I remember the 95 and 98 being the big one, and then freaking Windows XP. Holy crap, that was like the biggest game changer,
Dude.
ever. I used Windows XP for so long.
I used Windows XP. The first computer I got with Windows XP was I forget what computer it was, but it came with I think it came with Turok. Did it come with Turok? I think.
Turok, the dinosaur.
Yeah,
hunting one?
the dinosaur one.
Mm.
That was so long ago I can't remember, but I think it was a laptop that my dad had gotten. My parents always stayed up on getting like different laptops and like newer ones, and they've always stayed up on technology, which is good. But I definitely remember one with Turok, man, and
Turok was awesome.
I think it was Turok. That and Load Runner. Remember Load Runner?
Yeah, I do.
Dude,
You remember Vector Man?
I remember Vector Man.
I had Vector Man on the Windows 98 game discs or whatever. Vector Man was awesome.
Dude, Load Runner was my jam.
And Sparky or whatever it was called, Sparkster or whatever it was.
I don't remember that
It
one.
was kind of like a Vector Man, but you were like a star.
Didn't XP come stock with that 3D pinball?
Yeah, dude, it
The
was
space
awesome.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. You used to get
Dude.
bored and play pinball.
XP was rad. It came with like all kinds of games.
It did.
Had Minesweep, had Solitaire, had everything you wanted. Had the space pinball.
Dude, the space pinball was my jam. I had.
XP was my first experience.
Remember, it
with
had
The Sims.
what was that called? Spider Solitaire.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spider
Oh,
Solitaire.
man.
I never even understood Solitaire. It was hard enough.
People
for me as a
these days
kid.
will understand that like we had PC gaming back then, but man,
But it wasn't. Anything
It wasn't-
Like
it wasn't like how it is
anything like
now.
it is now.
I mean, you had your Warcrafts, you had your Diablo, StarCraft, blah blah blah.
I had my SimCity 2000.
What was it? Freaking, you had Command and Conquer.
Ooh,
you
yeah.
know.
Command and Conquer.
Yeah, I need to get that again. Command and Conquer was awesome.
I have it on an I have an old N64 cartridge of Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer was awesome.
RTS on N64 was never a good idea.
Expand.
RTS on console is never a good idea.
We know. The freaking Halo Wars. Just saying. I tried to play that game. I legitimately tried to play Halo Wars on the console. It did not work out very well for me.
So what would you consider as your favorite Windows? Because what XP was
Vista.
No, 7 was first.
No, Vista.
No. Yes.
Vista 7, 8.
Was it Vista 7?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're right.
Dude,
it was Vista.
You want to talk about
XP, Vista 7,
XP
8.1, and then 10.
and then 10. Oh my God, Windows Vista.
Dude.
Okay, Windows XP was perfect in so many ways. It had full support. It worked seamless. It didn't have a bunch of extra crap in it. You know, it was very basic. It was like, here's the operating
Windows
system.
XP like light.
Yeah.
The light ones that you could buy. That
I remember I was like,
on it.
dude, I remember the big deal was, whoa, I could change like my toolbar to like black and then like the button to orange. Like,
No,
whoa,
dude, you
like,
had to go with the cool blue.
Yeah, the cool blue.
That was the best color.
It was like there were so many customization options for your desktop, and it was just like that's just the desktop. But as far as like just support,
It had support.
it was dude. It just ended support like what, last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago they stopped support.
That's
for
how
it.
long that operating system lasted because it was like perfect.
Yeah, XP was. If I could have stuck with a computer with XP forever, I would have. But
I still have XP dual booted.
I have an XP. I have XP laptops. I have an XP and a Windows 7 hard drive sitting
Somewhere,
in there.
probably
I
in
think.
there.
Yeah.
XP was awesome.
XP was great. Windows 7 was great. Vista was by far Vista was the most garbage.
Yeah.
I never had 8, but I had 8.1, which I just found out
Dude.
today that there was a big difference.
Dude,
I liked 8.1.
okay. I hated. I'm gonna go back. I hated Vista. Okay,
Of course.
First off, I'll make that abundantly clear. Vista was garbage.
Yeah,
it was garbage. It was the first time they ever tried to like do this whole new like arrow thing. Remember, they went from XP, which was just very basic, and then they tried to do the arrow stuff. I think was in Vista, where it was all just like flashy, whooshy, and it just didn't work. The service packs were terrible. So all the security was terrible.
Only 2 service packs.
Yeah, it was not secure.
No,
the operating system was not secure. It was.
I think the one
probably the worst operating system, hands down.
The one laptop
history.
I had that was Vista, I changed to 7.
It was so bad
because Vista was just not good.
It was so bad. I remember specifically loading Vista, and then being like, I can't do it, and then just going back to XP repeatedly. Just always going back to XP. And then I remember my ex-girlfriend had this crappy pink Dell laptop, and she had Vista on it, and she could never figure out why that thing run like crap. And I was like, it's because you have Vista. And I freaking upgraded her to Windows 7. It was like a whole new world.
It did change.
Vista sucks.
Yeah, Vista wasn't good.
Sucks. And then Windows 7. Remember Windows 7 was announced?
Dude, Windows 7 was fantastic.
Windows 7 is still fantastic.
I never bought...
If it had X12 support, I would use it.
I did buy it. I was going to say I never bought a PC that came with Windows 7, but my first like desktop that I bought came with Windows 7.
If Windows 7 had DirectX 12, I'd use it still. It doesn't have DX12. It's only on Windows 10.
Yeah, but
because I love DX12.
I mean, DX12 it's there, but it's not there yet.
It's there.
You know what I mean? Like
the option to have it is there.
There's a lot of games that just haven't supported it yet.
No, but there's some games that I play that do. That's why. And DX12 was amazing, and we run everything all super wah. So
hair out.
Windows 10 DirectX 12 is just like a no-brainer. Windows 7 DirectX 12, I would revert so fast.
Windows 7, you can use. Oh God, what's that? What's that one that's competing with DirectX right now?
I don't know.
I dang it, I can't remember it. But geez. Well, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, it's like OpenGL.
There's OpenGL,
DirectX, and then there's one other one.
Vulkan.
Yeah. Vulkan is supposed to be able to support all the way back to Windows XP.
Isn't Steam doing stuff with Vulkan?
Steam's doing Vulkan. NVIDIA's already got Vulkan support.
Yeah.
It's just not supported by games.
Let me look up Vulkan for.
But Vulkan is apparently putting out something that is DirectX 12 equivalent, if not better. And it's cross-platform. It can go onto any Windows down to XP. It can go on to Mac operating systems down to, I don't know. I don't remember Macs because they use all kinds of different animals and colors.
They do.
And I can't follow them at all. They have a new operating system every month. But I mean, it's supposed to be.
There's an SDK for it.
It's supposed to be. I have it installed on my computer. It just there's no games that support it right now.
Yeah, it says.
But they're saying. But that was what was almost stopping me from going to Windows 10.
The Steam OS now supports Vulkan. I actually just read this. Valve Steam OS supports Vulkan, the cross-platform alternative DirectX 12. Apple Metal is what it's called.
Metal.
Yeah. This should optimize games for Steam OS. Encouraging more developers to support Linux. That's what it is.
Because that was AMD's thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Vulkan was AMD. It was called something else, and I can't remember it. And it completely tanked. It got completely smashed by DirectX and OpenGL. And
DirectX is just superior. It is though.
Vulkan is coming up, man.
Vulkan's coming up. It's great.
Vulkan's coming up, but it's going to take it a while. But that makes your Windows 7 or Windows XP build viable, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
That people that like you and me that would be complaining because I don't have DirectX 12 because I'm still on Windows 7, that could be a viable alternative to it, which would be so great. Stick with a good if if that comes out and ends up working out for Vulkan and becoming better than DirectX, I would make a dual boot between 7 and 10.
And DX for DX10 and Vulkan. One DX10, one Vulkan.
For DX12.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you would.
I would make a dual boot to have a Windows 7 computer with Vulkan on it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
7 with Vulkan.
Yeah,
10 with
Vulkan,
12.
10 with 12, yeah. I'd be all about that.
How long do you think it is going to be? Really quick, because we're talking about operating systems. One of my favorite operating systems is Linux. I love the Linux OS because it's so user friendly.
No Ubuntu?
Dude, sounds like a martial art.
That one's not user friendly.
Have you seen that?
For
Have you
sure.
seen that? The Matrix runs on bullet time
Yeah.
video. He's like, I'm gonna learn Ubuntu.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So funny.
Linux is so much more.
Linux is I have a
User-friendly.
I have a Raspberry Pi. For those of you who don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, I'm sure a lot of you guys do, but a Raspberry Pi is it's very small. It's like smaller than my hand. The computer part itself, it's a small modular based computer that's a completely open source computer. You can do whatever you want with it. There are like teachers online making full on robotic systems off of these Raspberry Pi computers because it's all just like soldering to like, the IO pins and stuff, and then just coding it in Linux.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. It's a Linux-based thing. You could put Windows on it, but I think it's Windows 10S. But I think somebody's managed to put 10S on a Raspberry Pi. But nobody's been able to put Windows Pro on it, so it's strictly a Linux based system. Or you can write your own algorithms and put it in it, implement it. And there's a bunch of people. What I use it for is arcade cabinets. I've made my own main cabinets out of them, and they work amazing. I put the games on a cloud, and then the Raspberry Pi pulls the data from the cloud, and then I play the games on the Raspberry Pi to the computer. It's amazing. It's an amazing system. The Raspberry Pis are amazing, but it runs on Linux. And I have been able to get as far as on Linux on the Raspberry Pi, being able to put Spotify on it, being able to put a Plex server on it, and make the actual Raspberry Pi the Plex server itself, so I don't have to leave a computer running 24/7 for my Plex server, for all my media and stuff. Been able to do that. I've converted it into a complete like arcade interface. Like I've done so many things, and it's all done through Linux. Linux is super. I couldn't do any of this stuff with Windows. I couldn't code my own arcade front end interface to run specifically on Windows. I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
Linux is so
they have the limitations
powerful.
there that won't let you.
Linux is so powerful. It really is. I just wish that there was a version of Linux, and if there is, you know what? Then I feel really dumb for not knowing this. But I wish there was a version of Linux that you could download that just operates like a Windows OS perfectly, and everything runs on it. There's not.
No.
Steam runs on Linux, but not all the games work on Linux.
Not all the games work on it.
All my Adobe programs won't work on Linux.
Oh, really?
They won't. They won't. Like I know people who have like tried and stuff, and I've looked this stuff up, but my computers won't be. Dude, I could not imagine trying to run this podcast off of Linux.
All I remember is I had Linux on my PS3.
Oh, because that's a hacking software.
That's the last time I used Linux.
Yeah, it's a hacking software.
That was fun.
It's basically all it is. It's just let's just mess around with stuff and see what happens.
Exactly.
But if I could, I love Linux. It's just so not like. What am I trying to say here? It's not user friendly. You have to know exactly what you're doing to use the operating system because it's not as simple as I'm going to go to this website and download it and it's going to be fine. It's not that simple. There's all sorts of coding that you have to do.
Yeah,
some of it you can download some stuff.
Some of it you can download like Linux packages or even you can download Ubuntu packages and stuff like that. But
yeah,
to make it really customizable, you have to know what you're doing.
You really have to know what you're doing. I love Linux though. I hate Ubuntu.
Ubuntu is just more difficult to use.
Ubuntu is like I felt was the way.
Ubuntu is so the way I had Ubuntu is it almost ran like Windows.
Yeah.
And I think that was somebody trying to make Linux run more like a Windows operating system. And it worked for the most part, but it wasn't nearly as customizable as Linux still. So it was like a more open version of Windows. Obviously, I'm not the greatest at this, so I'm sure there's people out there that have been able to do more with Ubuntu and with Linux than I have. But as far as my limitations went, I couldn't make it as customizable as Linux, but I can make it more customizable than Windows. That's the way I can describe Ubuntu.
So Windows we're Windows 10. I'm just gonna jump off Linux and go straight back into what we were talking about.
Right.
But
because
we had 7, it was great.
We still had that.
Okay,
that laptop
Windows
they have out.
8. I know a lot of dude. It's exactly down the middle for me. There's been so many people that said like, "Oh yeah, Windows 8 was great," and I've heard a lot of people say Windows 8 was terrible. I'm not saying 8.1. I'm just saying in general, the Windows 8 family sucked. It was terrible. Who comes out with an operating system without putting a start menu in it?
I mean,
Who does that?
I was okay with it.
I mean, I understand that like Mac OS doesn't have that. Doesn't really have like a start menu per se. They have like a way for you to go in and find your files, and that's okay.
I mean, they had the home menu, which brought up like my computer.
It brought
my
up
documents.
apps.
Are
you talking about Windows 8?
No. So Windows 8. Well, I had 8.1. I didn't have any experience with 8, but I did have 8.1. And in the left, you brought up your apps. Boom, apps all here. That's annoying. They had a little home button right next to it that when you clicked on it, it brought up my computer. My documents, my pictures. It had all that right there. Ways to do the search for like your run or your commands and stuff like that.
Right.
And it had everything in a separate button. It was still more annoying than having that big start button, but it was still, you can access like your control panel and everything. Like it had it all. Yeah. It was just in a different place. I don't know if that was an 8. It might have just been an 8.1.
I know that
but I didn't mind 8.1 at least. The only issue I had with it was the apps. But you can download a free program that I ended up doing because it irritated me. Even liking 8.1, it still irritated me having the apps.
Shell thing?
Yeah, it was the shell that made it to where
it basically emulated
it made your PC Windows 7.
Yeah.
With obviously operating off Windows 8.
Right.
But it gave you a start menu, it gave you all that stuff, and everything looked like Windows 7, which was nice.
Yeah.
And it made all the difference in the world. I had no problem with it.
It's basically like a UI mod.
Yeah, that's all it really is.
It's
just I can't remember what the name of the thing was. It was like
I think it was PowerShell or whatever it was.
PowerShell, that's what it was.
PowerShell?
It's PowerShell.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's PowerShell and it, like I said, it's free program, and it was super easy to use, and it made everything feel like Windows 7, which was what I was used to. And I had no complaints. I heard everyone complaining about it, but I didn't really have a problem with it. Even having the apps for the time that I did have the apps didn't really bother me. You press desktop and you don't worry about the apps anymore.
Well, Windows 8, the reason why I have a hatred for it, but I'm also it's a weird thing. I don't like Windows 8 because of that's just one thing. I just also felt that Windows 8 was really unstable, but it did something to me specifically. Windows 8 did. It didn't have the start menu option, which forced me to find another way to get into to find what I needed to open, like to find my programs.
Okay.
So now Windows 10 has come out, and it's been out for a couple of years now.
Yes.
And so it has a start option, but the thing is the start more so acts as a gateway to your apps and to crap like Cortana, So what I've done...
Nobody likes Cortana.
No, nobody likes Cortana. Microsoft, stop. Stop trying to be like Apple. Please. You're being unique being like Apple.
This is why we didn't go with... This is why you don't see Macs.
Behind us. This is why we built these monstrosities. Because we do like Microsoft products,
and we like to be able to switch out our parts. Because that's real nice.
Yeah, I don't want to have to spend $3,000 on a computer because one of my RAM sticks is out.
Yeah,
or my hard drive failed.
Yeah, it's a nice laptop. You want to upgrade your hard drive?
Dude, I think it was on those MacBooks, on the MacBook Airs or whatever. The hard drives or the RAMs are soldered.
The hard drives are.
Is it the hard drives? They're soldered to the board. Mm-hmm. Who does that?
Also, none of them are SSD.
That is the most blatant, like, forcing of consumers to buy a whole brand new product.
Well, I had
That's
gone.
so stupid.
I had gone to help someone buy. They wanted a Mac laptop. I helped them go pick it out and see which one they wanted, and it was right after they made that change. And I told them, they were like, oh, it's got this much of a hard drive, and I was like, is it just a hard drive or is it SSD? They're like, no, the SSD model was like $500 more. And I was like, okay.
For an SSD,
I was like, so this is a hard drive. I was like, that's fine. You can buy an SSD for like $300 something bucks if you want a 1 terabyte, and then you just swap it out. And the guy was like, you can't swap them out. I was like, what? And he just straight up was like, they just solder them in now. They don't make them.
That's so dumb.
They don't make them with a SATA port. They just solder them in.
That's so stupid.
And that. Also, it was
what does that do?
It was like $2,000 for like a 13-inch laptop monitor. I was like, no.
Was it an i7 in it, or was it one of the Power PCs? Because you know the difference between the Intel builds and the Power PCs, right?
It was an i7.
You know the difference between the Power PCs and the Intel based ones, right?
On the Macs?
On the Macs.
No.
So I found this out after I was in a band with a buddy of mine named Danny. He bought one of those. Mac, one of the white Macs, the white iMacs. Like
oh,
one
you're
of the
talking
OG
about the
ones.
towers.
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's just the tower and the monitor combo, or if it's just the monitor one, the iMac. Mm-hmm. If it says Power PC or Power Mac or whatever it is on it,
they have the Apple chips in it, don't they?
Yeah, they're
like
still
the
Macs.
Like the A8, the A5s, or A5s.
They're still Macs. They still are all Apple products. They're all Macs. They all work. The difference between the power ones and the Intel ones is the Intel ones can upgrade the OS. The Power ones can't upgrade the OS. They're OS locked.
Really?
Yeah. If you get one that says, I believe it's Power PC. Let's see here, Apple Power.
That's odd.
PC.
I don't know. I just
Apple Power PC.
Not being able to customize and upgrade and do all that.
That's why you could buy a 20-inch Apple iMac for $200. One of the iMacs you can buy $200.
Because it's OS locked.
It's operating system locked. It's 32, 64 bit.
There's got to be a way around that.
Mm-mm.
Oh well, it's Mac, so probably not.
Let's see. Let's see here. I'm gonna find something about it. Snow Leopard. Apple released Mac OS X on August 2009 as an Intel only, removing support for the Power PC architecture. So in 2009 they removed the Power PC.
Thank goodness.
So the reason why, obviously, is because what's the point of having I feel like that was another way to strong arm their consumers into buying another computer when a new OS came out.
That's another way to make your computer obsolete even faster. If you can't even upgrade the operating system when they start, because Mac makes so many operating systems.
Those are the G4s.
That it starts pushing out all the other operating systems really fast. So, I mean, you think about it, in 2 years where you could just upgrade your operating system and not have to worry about it on a PC or anything with an Intel, you're stuck in this operating system that's now about to get phased out. No programs are going to work for you. Nothing new is going to work for you. So it's just a way to keep you buying newer stuff.
I'm making sure that I'm accurate about that, about the Power PC. I'm making sure I'm accurate about that. But I remember my buddy having a Power PC, and he could not upgrade.
Somebody out there will know, and somebody will yell at us.
Yeah.
Because we might be wrong, but it still doesn't make me love Apple anymore. I mean, I have
because they switched. What is it? The ARM processors. ARM?
The ARM processors that are. I think they're only in cell phones now. Oh no! The Fire Stick, the Amazon Fire Sticks have the ARM processors.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I remember that now.
Let's see.
There's 3 processor manufacturers, and ARM is like strictly mobile and small device.
Okay, here we go. Here's the pros and cons of the Power Mac G series. So Power Mac's what they're called. Pros, fast processors. These are the pros. Listen to this crap. Fast processors, excellent graphics performance and RAM capacity, excellent case design. support for serial ATA hard drives, FireWire 800 and optical digital,
Ooh, FireWire.
PCI X and PCIe support for Mac OS 9 and classic applications. The cons: only officially supports two 3.5 hard drives. Serial ATA is not backwards compatible with Ultra ATA. Expansion is limited by 3 PCI, PCIX, or PCIe slots. Not liquid coolable, and they were relatively expensive. So
It doesn't sound like it has an OS lock, though.
I'm finding the OS lock.
Find it, man. Find it for us.
I'm gonna find it. I'm really, really sure about this. Really, really sure about this. Because I remember something came out, a new OS came out for my buddy, and we couldn't upgrade because it was a PowerPC. It wasn't an Intel-based computer, like Intel-based Mac. Which I think is dumb. Why create a system where you can't just have it all the time and
Money.
upgrade? Fair.
Plus, if they were considerably cheaper, then, you know.
What's the latest OS that supported PowerPC? Can we upgrade PowerPC? Oh, here it is. Can we upgrade PowerPC OS X 10.7 now that 10.8 is out? I know that 10.8 is out, but we have older Macs that will not work on the 10.8 as they do not have Intel processors. Can we still buy and get 10.7, which I believe will support older CPUs? No, you cannot install 10.7 on any Mac that does not have an Intel processor. All release of OS X 10 will require 10.6 require Intel processors. You could not upgrade
It sounds like it just hit
to
a wall.
the next OS unless you had an Intel processor. Who does that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And now I've heard of being able not to go backwards. Like, oh, okay, you can't install, Lion or whatever.
Yeah,
or
that's
that's
more like console stuff.
Yeah.
You expect to not be able to go backwards, but that's the first time I've heard of that. But that's it's interesting.
like I've heard of some laptops not being able to like okay, a laptop maybe came installed with 8. Okay. You can't put 7 on it because there's no drivers for it for 7.
Yeah, you can't change it to a legacy either.
But
MSI
you can put the OS on it.
MSI does that.
Yeah.
You can't put the OS on it either.
Oh, really?
Well, at least for MSI. MSI will brick it.
But who has never heard of not being able to upgrade
Yeah,
to the next
downgrade's
OS?
one thing, but
I understand
upgrade
upgrading to the next OS and maybe being like, I wonder if my hardware can handle it because it's a new OS. But I've never heard of you can't do it because your chip is not an Intel processor. Ooh, that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing
Or
ever.
they're just trying to push that out because they obviously got rid of it in 2009, so maybe that was just their way of pushing it out. You don't want to make the parts for it anymore. You make them completely obsolete.
God, that would just
That
suck.
could be another way to look at it. Maybe those were the circumstances, and we're just here now.
That just sucks. So anyways, we're talking about Windows 10. Windows 10.
We're talking about that new laptops that Windows was coming out.
Yeah,
with.
they're coming out with the
Super sidetrack.
they're coming out with the new Chromebook. Now, here's the thing about the Chromebook, the new ones. They're like
Tell me about it.
$189 for
That's
these
cheap.
Chromebooks. They have Windows 10s on them. Here's where I get frustrated.
Get frustrated.
I'm getting frustrated.
Do it.
You have a full-fledged OS already, Windows 10.
Yeah.
Why are you this basically Windows 10s is okay. Have you ever put Windows on a computer and accidentally not put it on Home Premium? You put it on Basic. Windows Basic.
I am the basic.
Well, no, like
Yeah. No, I've
you
done
know what
that.
I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Though, like you can't do anything. Windows
Yeah.
Basic is like the
Windows
most.
Basic is like the most blank.
It sucks.
It's essentially if you want to run that thing as just a server.
yeah, is what it is. And
that's what it is.
Windows,
You want it to have the minimum,
you can't even like
CPU
install
stress
stuff on it and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it sucks.
You want it solely to be like your server computer.
So the way that these Chromebooks are being designed, they're designed as like educational books.
Yeah.
Like they're specifically designed for like the college student, whatever. Who's
The learned one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read some things here about why, because I thought, okay, cool. They're streamlining the Windows 10 OS for the Chromebooks, and it could be worth a crap to those because they're being specifically designed for the Chromebooks. Chromebooks aren't too expensive. Some of them are, but yeah, okay, that's cool. They're gonna get a really, really cool OS. Well, here's some reasons why not to do it. So only Windows Store apps work.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm already out.
The biggest change to Windows 10s is that it's locked to only work with Windows Store apps. That means you'll need to find apps in the store to download and install them. And many desktop apps like Photoshop or Chrome aren't in the store. Microsoft
I'm out.
does allow developers to port their desktop apps into the Windows Store, but not many have taken advantage of this feature yet. Yeah, because why would you take the time and effort to make an app when you could just continue to make an exe?
When you tell them to just not get that.
Hey, just make an exempt file and download it to the desktop. Like, why would you waste time? How many people do you know have a Chromebook? 2. That's the other thing. If it was like a high demand for it, I could see a company doing it. Microsoft is adding.
That's like the Wii U. Like nobody wanted to support the Wii U
Yeah,
because
right?
why would I make a game where I have to make a whole nother side screen for it that's handheld?
Doesn't make any sense.
That's why Nintendo lost a lot of stuff on the Wii U. But it's the same thought.
Microsoft is adding full suite of Office apps to the Windows Store, and Spotify is committed to bringing its music streaming out to the store.
Okay, I have almost never used Office apps
Neither have I.
ever.
I have the
Try
exempt
your
files.
free trial. I probably have like 10 years of free trials from all my computers that I have for Windows Office that I'm never going to use.
Yeah, I don't blame you either. Microsoft will need popular apps like iTunes, Chrome, and Photoshop to make Windows 10s more usable. Yeah, there's not even an iTunes option in the store.
Wow, okay, I'm out.
Or you can't even. Okay, here's the crappy thing. That's already crap, right? So think
Yeah, I
about
was gonna say this.
think about this for a second. Default browser and search settings are locked to Microsoft.
To Edge?
Microsoft will support alternative browsers in the Windows Store, but 10s users won't be able to alter their default browser. That means if you click on a link in the 10s, then you'll be forced to use Microsoft Edge browser.
Edge?
Yeah.
No.
The new Internet Explorer.
We all thought Internet Explorer was bad. Then they came out with Edge.
Browsers. You seen that photo?
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Yep.
That's like, wow.
Microsoft is locking down Microsoft Edge to only work with its Bing search engine in Windows 10s.
Bing? This is making all the wrong choices.
That means you won't be able to switch to Google search to easily type in queries in the address bar or elsewhere.
You might as well go to Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, is that still I thought
It's just
Jeeves was
ask.com
done.
now,
Oh,
I think.
okay.
But it was way better when it was Ask Jeeves.
But here's the great thing. Windows,
Wait, there's more.
Windows 10s
This
can
is
be
the
upgraded.
Billy Mays of crap.
I know. Wait, there's more.
Wait, there's
Windows
more.
10s can be upgraded to Windows 10 Pro.
Okay, so then that would take out the lock.
Or does it?
Or does it? Well, yeah, because Windows 10 Pro definitely doesn't have a lock, and it sounds like only the operating system has
Let's
a lock.
see.
Because it's saying Windows 10s users are going to have to open up. So if you're going to upgrade it, can it be upgraded for free?
No.
Oh, well then, no.
That's what I was
Just buy
getting
a regular
to.
laptop.
If you need desktop apps that aren't in the Windows Store, then Microsoft has a quick fix for you.
Quick fix.
For $50, you can upgrade to Windows 10 Pro.
Okay, $50 isn't bad, though.
$50 for an OS that you shouldn't even have to upgrade to because the laptop that they gave you sucked.
Yeah, but I mean, their operating systems, Windows 10 alone is $100-something bucks.
Still though,
Which was free, so
Yeah.
I don't know why they decided to do that.
that's what I'm
but
saying.
That
On a
was
low-cost
the dumbest
device-
thing I ever saw was put it out for free for like 2 years, so everybody can learn it and get with it, and they'll have it free forever.
Here's the deal though.
The
The Chromebook, here's why I think it's dumb. The Chromebook, you have to pay $50 to upgrade to Windows 10 Pro, right? If you got a Surface, you get a free upgrade. It's a Windows 10s device too, but you get a free upgrade if you have a Surface. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I'm out. I was
dumb.
out at the beginning of that.
It's when you had to only do apps in the
Yeah,
store.
when it was Windows, when it was the Windows apps, the Microsoft apps only, I was like, I'm out.
So the reason for Windows 10s is like it's a Windows phone. It's a Windows Phone OS is what it is. That's basically what it is. Because you think about Windows phones, you can only use the apps. Think about
Does
a regular
anybody
phone.
still have
you
Windows phones?
I don't. I actually no. I know a couple people that have the new Windows phones. And they're okay, but I won't ever own one.
Yeah,
because they're dumb.
Well, it was the tile thing that everyone complained about, but they
Tile
were
thing
so
is
happy
bad.
when it was on the phone.
So crappy.
So
Crappy. Windows test.
Anyways.
Let's see. Windows 10 is a test for Microsoft to try and better secure and improve experience of Windows.
All right, I'm gonna move us away from this. We were
Desktop apps have had the free. Oh my God! Desktop apps have had the freedom to run wild in Windows for years, and Windows 10s is Microsoft's latest attempt to trying to move Windows to a more modern environment.
No.
Why would
no
you not
uTorrent
give
for you.
your- Why would you not give your consumers the option to do what they want?
uTorrent makes
An app.
an app on straight up.
Is that an app?
No, I don't think it's an app.
That'd be awesome if it was though.
I'm gonna move us along here. I'm getting irritated now. I'm starting to hate Microsoft.
Well, hold on, because we're almost done with this. So,
Oh my god.
oh my gosh! So Windows 10 laptops will start at Windows 10s laptops. Like I said, start at like $200.
Yeah.
Let's see. Entry levels 10s can start at $189, which will help convince schools when it comes to buying a ton of laptops for their students. So for that, specific reason, it's great. They come with a 1-year subscription of Minecraft Education Edition.
Really?
But that's not all. Office 365 online apps will also be free
Really?
for both students and teachers.
Minecraft
Yeah, dude. Aren't you sold yet?
Education
Aren't
Edition.
you sold yet?
Teach you how to use a pickaxe.
Yeah. Windows 10s will ship this summer,
Oh,
just in time for the new school year.
Monster wieners coming after me.
Schools will be able to download Windows 10s for free
Ooh.
if they want to
That-
upgrade older devices to Windows 10s. Let's see.
The S stands for schools.
Windows 10 schools.
Wow.
I don't understand. I'll wrap this up really quick. This is all basically news, a news segment. But I thought it was dumb because Windows has Windows 10 operating system. Why don't you just put that on your laptops?
Because
Why do you have to make a special OS for it?
Because if you
It's not
make a
phone.
special OS for it, which is the 10s, obviously.
Yes.
If you make that, sell the computers a little bit cheaper. Everyone's going to buy them. They're eventually going to want to upgrade. That's $50 more that they put into it. That $180 computer now comes a $230 computer or Surface or whatever it is. So I mean, you're going to want to upgrade because there's going to be a point where you're like, "Oh, I want to put this on here." Blocked. And then you pay the $50 to upgrade it.
Right.
And that's where they're going to make that extra money off of, where we're selling this about $40 cheaper than a regular, Surface or whatever.
Right.
But if you want to work like that, then it's $50 more. But people don't think about that right away. They think about it's cheap right now.
Right.
I can get that.
I'd be frustrated if I bought a computer, a laptop that I was going to use for school. Yes, I understand that it's used for school, but I couldn't even install freaking iTunes on it.
Nothing. Yeah, see, and that's why people
I couldn't even use Chrome
and
on it.
that's why people.
Dude.
I mean, it is made for schools to buy in bulk because you don't want iTunes on it.
Right.
You don't want. Obviously, you want Minecraft on it, but that's it. That's like the Oregon Trail of our time.
It's like the biggest smack in the face, dude.
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Dude.
So
the game sucks,
yeah, don't even start me on that,
dude. That community is super cringy. Have you ever watched Minecon videos?
Yeah, I don't.
Dude, it's cringy.
It is.
Why?
It's awful.
I'm getting really serious about it. I never really Minecraft isn't a terrible game. I just don't see the point.
It's not
in
a
it.
great
It's
game.
not a great game either. I'd rather waste my time playing Counter-Strike.
So I did.
And I love Counter-Strike or
I did read
Overwatch because
something.
Overwatch is great.
Moving us over kind of to our next topic, but kind of not at the same time. I did read something.
You couldn't play VR on one of those.
You couldn't. Yeah, VR. I just found out the other day. It's just kind of like a little thing that I got excited about. The Switch and Nintendo is going to implement an app that, since we're talking about apps, an app that you can put onto the Switch that can play PC games.
What?
It'll play Steam games. And it got the licensing to play PS Now games.
What?
Yeah, dude, look that.
Can I look this up really quick?
Look it up. I forget what the app was called. It's probably a screenshot on my phone, and my phone's so far away. Right now, it's all the way at the other end of the room. So.
Oh my gosh! When I typed in Nintendo Switch, it came up with SteamOS. Could SteamOS and Steam machines bump Nintendo? Okay.
Okay, it's. I'd have to find it again, maybe in another episode or something. But
Steamtendo.
Steamtendo.
This is on Reddit. Reddit user discovers Steamtendo Switch. Reddit user is taking this to another step. Has created a portable Steam tablet. He took a Windows tablet, the HP Pro, the 608G1, and mounted the Switch's Joy-Cons to create a makeshift Switch that ran Steam games.
This is something that Nintendo is legitimately.
This is still really cool, dude.
It's still pretty cool, okay. But this is something that Nintendo is legitimately going to put into their store that you can buy. Or I don't know if you have to buy the app or not, but you probably have to, like Steam, you have to buy the games. But you can play PC games on the Switch.
Nintendo is negotiating with Steam 64 indie games. Confirmed. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe.
Nintendo Switch game list. We hope you enjoyed the special look at some of our... Nintendo is looking for titles that will maybe make a debut console on Nintendo Switch, including those games already exist on PC platforms, including... According to Kirk Scott... the company has 3 qualification traits in installing games in Nintendo Switch, such as playable together, great IP, and can be played anywhere. He added that the company is also negotiating with Steam, and they see it as complementary. Nintendo knows that people who play it on Steam also want to buy a console that can be played anywhere and everywhere with friends. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're also talking about adding PS Now into it. Which is all the PlayStation games
onto the Switch,
onto that app on the Switch, so you can play it that way. You can stream it that way.
Those are competitors, though.
Nintendo's trying to wipe out everybody else right now. Everybody kind of put Nintendo down. Oh, the Wii U, yeah. But Nintendo's like, we're coming out with a Switch and we're gonna wreck you because we have Nvidia and we have the power. Now, anyways,
we have the power.
They don't have VR quite yet. So let's talk about VR.
Good. Nintendo, stay true to your roots and don't make VR. Please don't make VR.
Yeah, you saw how well the Virtual Boy went.
Stick with the tablets. You just came out with the
Virtual Boy 2.0.
Oh my God. No,
remember that thing?
Yeah, dude.
Anyways.
And just stick with the tablets. Dude. They ruled the handheld gaming market with an iron fist. Stick with it.
They do.
Don't decide to do. Oh my God! What if they came up with the 3DS with the VR helmet? Holy crap! Handheld VR.
I wouldn't be able to hang.
Handheld VR, dude.
I already can't hang with VR. Dude,
I don't like VR.
VR is so... It's not viable because of how expensive it is.
That's exactly why.
I had to build this computer, and it's considered VR ready because it's got the
1080
the Epic graphics card. It's got the Epic processor.
Yeah.
It's got enough HDMI ports. It's got 2 HDMIs. It's got 2 display ports.
It's got 128 gigs of RAM.
It's got 32 gigs of RAM. It's built for VR.
What do you have? 3 terabytes of SSD space in there?
I have 3 1 terabyte SSDs in there. I'm overkill. I am the overkill king. If it looks like it's going to be overkill, I'm going to get it. But VR is $500 on top of that. I can't justify
that, dude. That's a whole nother console.
The only things I can justify...
That's 2 consoles. That's 2 PlayStation 4s.
I talked to you about this a little earlier. The only thing that makes me kind of want to justify it is the Rick and Morty Rickstaverse.
Okay.
I'm almost willing to spend $500 for a console and then another $30 for the Rickstaverse.
Do it.
And the Ikea VR. I don't know why.
Okay, you were telling me about the Ikea VR
If I get
earlier.
a VR headset because overkill, I am definitely going to get the Ikea game for it where I just walk through an Ikea. That's fantastic. That's all.
Why is that cool?
That's all the benefits of going to Sweden without going to Sweden. I get to walk through there and be like, I wonder if there's a thing where you can pick an item and then place it in your house. Okay, I have to buy a VR now.
Are you
I'm
serious?
sold. Ikea.
Are you serious?
The HTC.
You talked yourself into buying. You just got done sitting here telling me I hate VR, and then you just said, "If I can put my own
Sony,
thing, I need one."
All those, the Steam, all those VRs have not sold me. Ikea is the one that just sold your VR, so you're welcome from the Swedes. If that,
I hate you a little bit.
That's the thing. If I can take, one of their lovely items that I can never pronounce and put it into my room and be like, that's how it would look there. That's fantastic. Let's go buy it. No, there's a buy now button on your VR. That'd be even cooler. IKEA, if you're listening and you don't have this, I'm helping you right now.
Okay, have you heard of God? Because it is VR. Have you heard of Daydream? The Google Daydream?
Is it anything like IKEA?
Okay. So the Daydream, excuse me,
Bless.
it takes you on an incredible adventures in virtual reality. Daydream View headset is made lightweight. It's easy and intuitive. So explore new worlds, kick back your own personal VR cinema, and play games that you put in the center of the action. So what it is if I can say this properly, this was shown on, I think it was it E3 it got shown, or some other tech show, or maybe it was
CES.
maybe it was CES. I saw it or something, but Daydream is like essentially what you're talking about. So your personal cinema, you get to watch movies and stuff like on a virtual big screen.
Oh yeah. You can like put items in your house.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's perfect for people who have, spent
Nothing.
$500 on a VR headset and can't afford anything else. Like, man, I'd really like that 60 is 4K TV. Let me just put on my $500 headset.
Exactly.
Because I can't afford the TV now.
Exactly.
Yeah, you were talking about that. I think it was at CES they had that. And
Cause so there you go. You don't need IKEA.
material items.
You just need the Daydream.
You just need a VR headset. You've sold me.
I can't even combat you now because you were like, "Oh man, that's why I hate VR." IKEA, bro, I love VR. Like,
in all honesty, no, I couldn't spend that much money on VR. If it was the price of a console, then yes, maybe.
It's like the price of two consoles. I can buy two PS4s for that price.
The Sony one is the price of a console. The Sony one's only like $300. The one that hooks up to the PS4.
Yeah,
but you need the PS4 to do so. So if you don't have the PS4,
you're SOL.
You have to buy two consoles, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So you might as well go, with the HTC one or the Steam one. Was that the Oculus?
The Oculus, yeah. No, that's the. No, you're right. I'm sorry.
There's the Oculus and there's the Rift and the Vive.
Yeah.
Either one of them. They're like $500.
There's another one too. That actually has like some crazy specs on it. Hold on a second. Let me find it. Keep talking.
When the Oculus first came out, it came out with like this stand that you stand on. It's a pad that you stand on. And like it came with like a belt that goes around you that senses your movement side to side and all that fun stuff. Because I saw it on a Kickstarter, or it was something like a Kickstarter. Like it was. I saw it quite a few years back, and I was actually really interested in it. The first game that I saw, once it finally was announced that this is what it's going to look like, the two handheld joysticks with the headset. Was the mountain climbing one.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty intense. That would give me so much anxiety. Like, if you slip and fall in that game, I'd fall in real life, and that would be the end of me. I'd have a broken hip or something like that. I'm getting so old.
See, that's my thing is I'm still worried about with headsets is that people are going to put them on, forget that they're immersed in that world, and they're going to hurt themselves.
Well, no, okay, so they do have a thing that when you're walking around a room, you can see outlines of the objects that are in the room. I have seen that, to where you can see outlines of the objects that are in the room, so you don't run into them, which is fantastic. But what's stopping you from punching somebody that's kind of coming up next to you, like playing a boxing game and just decking your best friend in the face or something? Like, yeah, Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't have been standing there. What was that? Happy Gilmore?
So yeah, you have the HTC Vive, the Oculus, the PlayStation VR, the Samsung one, whatever it's called, Samsung VR something or other.
Yeah, something like that.
The
Rift.
the Gear VR.
Or is it the Oculus?
The Oculus is the Oculus Rift. Yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Don't yell at me. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just see all the symbols next to all my Steam games that I try to buy, and I can't. See,
I can't either. I can't do
that. If you
that.
think about it, it's only 10 games off Steam, 10 full games off Steam. That's not a whole lot.
See, there's the Oculus Rift, the Sony PlayStation VR, and right now the HTC Vive is
the HTC Vive has the best specs.
The Windows 10 VR that's coming soon.
TBD.
And then let's see, the Samsung Gear VR. That's what it is.
Oh, Samsung Gear.
And then you have the Daydream.
But the Samsung Gear isn't.
And then
that
the
one
best one, dude, the Google freaking Cardboard.
the
best one.
where you tape your phone into it.
Yep.
I've seen that. Isn't the Samsung Gear just your phone clipped into it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You get it. Like, actually, I think if you get a Galaxy, they give you one.
They give you one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think my dad got one. Or no, he had the option between that or the fancy watch. That's kind of like the Samsung Fitbit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he broke the screen like a week later.
Bummer.
Yeah, he was working on something and it hit the concrete and all he heard was like that and it was broken. But
I'm looking right
HTC
now online.
Vive right now has
everyone's
the best
saying
specs.
the Vive is the best one.
They've been
here
saying
it
that
is
since the beginning.
This is the one. Starbreeze. It's the Starbreeze has a headset. It's called the oh my gosh, the Star VR. Have you heard this Star VR? It's actually a crazy. So Starbreeze. It's a Swedish company. Their headset. Oh my gosh. The field of view is two 5.5-inch quad HD panels that will pump out a 5120 by 1440 resolution. It's a headset. It's a VR headset.
5120 by 1440?
5120 by 1440. Yeah. And will be used to showcase Overkill's forthcoming Walking Dead adaptation.
That's above 4K, isn't it?
Dude, 4K,
4K
is only
31.
30
or 30 something.
30 something, yeah.
By 1440.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. It's by now
Wait, who's it? Wait, where's it from?
Starbreeze. It's from Sweden.
Oh, I bet it comes with the IKEA game. Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
I need it. The Star VR needs to be in my life.
VR, let's see here. I want to look at this thing right here. So, consumers regained faith in VR. We were already working on the concept, but I had feeling immersion wasn't complete and thought I could do better, said the CEO. So, dude, 5120 by 1440.
Yeah, dude, that makes the IKEA game that much more appealing.
Oh, 210 degrees of field of view.
That's huge.
210 degrees.
That's huge.
So, VR though, I don't know if. No, I'm not even gonna say if I don't know. I still don't want one. I still can't justify the price. There's still not enough good titles. There's still like. I don't know, man. I just don't think it's a practical system still.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the IKEA game.
Dude, I don't want the IKEA game. I feel like, do I think VR is cool? Yeah, I think it's cool. Who doesn't like virtual reality or augmented reality? It's awesome. Who doesn't like that kind of stuff? I still think Google Glass was like one of the coolest things ever. Google Glass were awesome.
That failed real fast.
I don't know why. I still see people that walk around and wear them. Like, they're cool. I mean, they're all obviously, home modded Google Glass systems because there's no support for them anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I had to choose between gaming on a monitor or TV or whatever, or using the VR. I'm gonna choose the monitor every time.
I mean, if I had
if
I had to choose between anything in that VR, yeah, I'd choose a monitor, or I'd sell my graphics card and instead of spending $500 on a VR, I just spend that extra $500 on what I made off the graphics card and
buy TV,
buy the XP,
the
Titan.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I can't justify it as much as I really want the the IKEA game, if any company wants to send that my way, feel free, because I'm definitely going to try it out and let people know how I feel. And if there is a buy option in that game, there better be. I swear, if IKEA's watching this,
if you can't play IKEA VR and shop,
if anybody that works for IKEA is watching this right now,
or listening,
or being a transient being right now and just kind of floating in air and hearing this, if there's not an option to take an item and put it in your home so you can see what it looks like, and then click buy in that VR game, call me. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out splits on it. I'll send you my billing information, and then we'll get this ball rolling.
All right, we need to wrap up because I need to stop you before you get too far ahead.
This could be my new career path.
IKEA VR
might pick me up. I'm moving to Sweden. I'll hang out with them flames.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so you can find the Module Podcast on iTunes and Google Play, as well as reallikablegeeks.com, where they go up before anywhere else. You can also discuss with us things in the podcast on our website, reallikablegeeks.com. The podcast goes up on Wednesdays, and then they'll be up online, usually in the same day. They also get streamed on Twitch, twitch.tv/likablegeeks. You can find us there. You can find the Module Podcast. As far as the social networks go, it goes underneath the Really Likable Geeks Twitter. So twitter.com/likablegeeks, facebook.com/likablegeeks. You can find all information about the module there until we decide to make social media specifically for the module. You can find me on Twitter at @ThatStephenBrown.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DysenteryGary44.
The links will be down here. You'll be able to see them. And
figure it out.
So thank you guys for listening to us and or watching us talk about operating systems and VR and other.
And sending me the IKEA game with a VR if you do that. Thank you.
Please do that so that I don't have to suffer through this.
We'd have to suffer through a whole episode of me walking through a fake IKEA.
Oh my God. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.